what we're going to talk about is what I had in the video that I sent out yesterday, the movie that I sent out, the video. And this, I just want to start with this. I want to start with Mike White's quote, which I love this quote. You either don't know what to do to reach your goal, or you are either consciously or unconsciously choosing not to do it. Some would say you're refusing to do it. If you don't know what to do to be successful in this business, if you don't know what to do to be successful, not just in this business, in your life, with your health, with your, like, you can find out, right? It's easy to find out what it is you should do. You can Google, I mean, this wasn't always the case, but you can Google anything and get access to the best information on the planet. And then I'm pretty sure that no one would say they're not quite sure what they should do to get business here, because we just have so many resources and some of the most helpful people on the planet that are ultra successful that'll tell you, here's what you should do and here's how you should do it. And so it isn't that you don't know, right? So then the only other reason that you might not be successful or at the level that you're not, you're not doing what it is you know you should do. For the last 3 weeks on the Friday Focus, if you go back to read the last 3 weeks, number 203, number 204, and then today's, I gave you an outline, and that was my goal, was to just produce an outline that would be a recipe for what you need to have success as an originator in this amazing industry. Just, Chris Hobber just talked about like how one of the worst months I ever had, and I made $15,000. I can remember when Chris Hobber was like, I threatened to fire him at $8 an hour because he wasn't making enough calls every day. And so it was
$10.
Yeah, whatever. The industry is an amazing industry, and I that's one of the things I get so excited about when I talk about what this is, because it's amazing what this can be and how it can be life-changing and to create such a difference in the lives of your family. And so it's you have that ability. And so the first one I talked about was the number 203 was measurable progress. Each year should build on the last. You shouldn't do 1 year 10 times. You shouldn't have to start. I mean, it should be, every year should be growth. You shouldn't have to set a goal to lose 20 pounds every year, or you'd waste away. So you know what you have to do, and then that's what it is. It's setting those goals and making sure. And I believe, and strongly, I can't emphasize this enough. I can only coach you so much. You need that life plan. That life plan is so important. I've talked about this. I wrote my first one when I was 40 years old. The difference in my life, the first 20 years of my adult life and the next 20 years of my adult life are so different and so much better, just because I started to get intentional about everything that was important. And that life plan gives you a compass, what is important to you. And that's what's so critical. And I don't want you to be a top producer. And I want you to be a top producer. I don't want you to just be a top producer. I want you to be a top learner. I want you to be a top spouse, a top parent, a top friend, a top member of the community, and with excellent health and a secure financial future. That's what I want, because it would be horrible for you to achieve that success and then have it break down somewhere else. It wouldn't be worth it. And we would all trade our money for our health in a moment, and just ask the people that don't feel good. And so that life plan, I think, is so important and so critical to what you have to do, which leads to goal setting, right? That when you have that life plan in place, now you can set goals based around the things that are in that plan. And but again, you shouldn't have to set the same goals every year. So then number 204, which is the one that I wrote last week, was about your why. Why do you do what you do? Why do you want to achieve these goals? Why do you want to be tell me why you want to be a great husband or wife or girlfriend or boyfriend or parent. Why is it important? And that's the trick to getting to a powerful why. And I didn't cover this. The trick to getting yourself to a powerful why is to keep asking. If I tell you, because you all have given me goals, and this is going to be an exercise that I'm going to want every one of you to do. You've given me your goals, your income goals for the year, and I want to know why it's important. Why do you want to achieve that goal? And I want you to ask yourself why 5 times. When you get to that 5th why, you're starting to get to the emotional reasons why it's important to you. And when you can have that emotional anchor to the purpose behind your goal, everything becomes easier, because now you know, it's that story about the woman, and you may have read this, and I don't know if this is in Compound Effect, but the story about the woman who her son gets in, she's in the jungle somewhere, and her baby gets kidnapped by another group, and then all the men in her tribe try to go and get the kid, but they can't find him, and they come back, and then the mom leaves, and she goes and she brings the kid back, and they said, how did you do it? How did you, like, it was terrible, we couldn't find, and she goes, yeah, it wasn't your kid. That's the difference between a powerful why and you doing what it is you're doing. It's like, well, I'm going to go get my kid, right? So when you can find that emotional reason of what's important to you and why, because this business is hard sometimes. Let's be honest. It's hard to lose 20 pounds, and it's hard to have financial security. It's hard to do it's hard to be a great husband or a great wife or a great parent. It's hard work. And so when you get to the why of it, it's easy, because you're not going to care what you're having to go through to get there. And that's the purpose of that why. My why is simple: the success that you guys get to achieve. It is such a thrill, and it chokes me up. And so I try not to think too hard about it in moments like this. It's such a thrill to watch your growth and to watch your achievement and to watch your gratitude and the impact that you're having in the community, the impact that you're having in your lives, and the impact that you're having on all the people that we help. Because I love home ownership, and we talk about that all the time. So if you can ask yourself why 5 times, you can get there. And that's what it is for me. And then today, the Friday focus is: the secret to your success is determined by your daily agenda. That's it. That's the secret to your success. This is a John Maxwell quote, and I think it's the best news of all, because if you know that that's true, if you believe that, and you should, and go back to what I said in there, Maxwell claims that if he could come to your house and spend just one day, he'd be able to determine whether or not you'll be successful. He'll let you pick the day. If he got up with you in the morning and went through the day with you, watching you for 24 hours, he claims he could tell in what direction your life would be headed. Most people are surprised that he makes that. Some get defensive and they think he's making a snap judgment. Some people get really upset because it does sound arrogant. But the smart ones are intrigued, and they want to know why he thinks he can make such a statement. And it is because your daily agenda does determine your success. And that's it. And that's great news. That's the thing, is that it's not luck, and it's not there's not a secret that we're not telling you. It's right there. It's in your daily agenda and what you're going to focus on. And so that's what I wrote in here was, if John Maxwell, or if I spent 24 hours with you from the time you got up in the morning until 24 hours later, would we be witnessing somebody who's doing everything necessary to reach and achieve their plans and their goals? You know, that stencil that we have on the wall that says, do your habits of today match your dreams for the future? It's a really simple question, and it's all you need to do, because that's the fun part about this business is you can outcompete anybody and outperform anybody just by being disciplined about the daily agenda. I talked about in this, as this ties into our business planning, what I said was, I think that the mistake that I see loan officers make is they don't schedule prospecting activities every day, because you got to do it every day. You're in sales. They don't make it non-negotiable, right? There's always, oh, well, I didn't have time to prospect because I had this issue. It's like, okay, well, prospecting is the most important activity in your business. And if you make it negotiable, what you're saying is it's not the most important activity in your business. And then you're not tracking it, right? You don't track what you're doing, and you don't measure your performance, because you can't grow your numbers if you don't know your numbers. So you've all given me your goals for 2023. And I'm going to ask you to do 2 more things for me. I want you, one, tell me why the goal is important to you. So what's your why? What will it mean to you to reach the goal? So I'm trying to find out what the why is behind your business goal. And then I want to know from you what 3 projects, skills, or area of your business that you need to focus on or improve in Q1, not in 2023, but in Q1, because we can always get better. And the thing is that we have the resources to help you do whatever it is you think that you want to do. And that's what makes this such a powerful thing. So I'm buying everybody the only book that we're going to focus on in 2023, a copy of Fanatical Prospecting. That book I read it, and this is what you can see all the tabs in there. That was from a few years ago when I read it. There's just it's just such a foundational book on prospecting. If we can master this skill, you can outperform we can obliterate your goals. So prospecting does not have to, and that's what this book talks about. Prospecting is not turning this job into this cold calling, grind nightmare thing that nobody likes doing. This is about taking a really intelligent approach to everything that you're doing, and really having a plan to do it. And it really is, they go in depth on this book. So what I really like about it is spending time planning your prospecting activity, so that when you do actually do the prospecting, it's in a really short, concentrated period of time, like maybe an hour or even 30 minutes of how many phone calls can I make and how many appointments can I set in 30 minutes. This is going to set us up to have all kinds of fun in 2023 with some sales contests, with some competitions, with some different things that we can do to just keep everybody engaged in this process, because I know without a doubt that if we become the best prospectors, we can outperform everybody. I'm going to read some quotes from the book. Superstars are competitive, and they have the drive, and make sure I didn't, have the drive to perform. They have exceptional people savvy, high emotional intelligence, and a winning mindset. But here's the thing. So do lots of salespeople. Lots of salespeople possess drive and the hunger to succeed. They have intelligence, talent, skills, and the education to be top performers. A lot of them are competitive. They understand the sales process and how to ask for the business, yet they consistently underperform the superstars. So what's the secret that separates the superstars from everyone else, and why do they consistently outperform other salespeople? It's prospecting. And he would say fanatical prospecting. The enduring mantra of the fanatical prospector is one more call. Make one more call, right? The brutal fact is the number one reason for failure in sales is an empty pipeline, and the root cause of an empty pipeline is the failure to prospect. Now, this is from the book. With the techniques I teach you, will the techniques I teach you eliminate rejection, make prospecting more palatable, make it painless, or remove the emotional and mental roadblocks that lead to prospecting procrastination? Nope, not a chance. Because for everybody, and the superstars will tell you too, it's like going, prospecting is one of the least enjoyable things that they do. But they're still going to do it, and because that's the difference. But it's the brutal truth is that there's no easy button in sales. Prospecting is hard emotionally, it's draining work, and it is the price you have to pay to earn a high income. And so that's it. You've all shared with me these goals, and I really appreciate it. What those goals do is they break down your weekly goals for leads, credit pulls, and applications that you need to reach your goals for the year. So each week on this call, we're going to starting in January, we're going to start asking the question. So how many leads, how many credit pulls, and how many applications did you get? And we're just going to keep track of it for the whole year. And the only reason I'm doing this, I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm trying to get you to understand that if you don't keep track of this, if you don't know your lead count for the week, if you don't know how many credit pulls and how many applications you got for the week, if you're not tracking that, then nothing's going to happen. And you can go 2 or 3 weeks and go like, shit, I've only had I haven't had any leads in 2 or 3 weeks. That doesn't work. Your business will fall. But if you keep it top of mind, and you know that every week I have to know this, you will become a much better salesperson. You'll get very specific about what it is that you have to do. And you'll know, I'm not going to give anybody shit. Just tell us the number, because you're going to know the number. And that would be a great change in our business, that everybody knows what that number is every single week. And now you're gonna start acting like real business people. So I think that's gonna be great. And then once I get the book to everybody, we're gonna start reading it together. We'll just try to get through a chapter, and then we'll share on this call. So what are we learning? What did you pick up? What did you learn? And then I'm gonna ask people to share some of their successes with prospecting. Jacqueline, I know that everybody's starting to ramp this up. Jacqueline has done the real estate agent meeting that she did, and she brought the rep in from HomeBot. I sat there and listened to it because I wanted to hear what the HomeBot presentation was. There's so many things that we can do to add value to the community that we're trying to influence, and it's just us being really specific about what that is and taking steps every week to do it. So I'm really excited about 2023. I think we can have a kick-ass year. You've all given me numbers that will say we're going to have a great year. We're going to double, literally we would almost double our production from what we ended up doing this year. And and we can absolutely do that with a more concerted effort on prospecting and just you being aware every week of how many leads you've got, the credit pulls and everything else. That's what. Let me show you a couple other things before I go. It's only 9:30 for good. All right. I'm going to show you from the book Shift. This is a sample prospecting calendar, or actually it's a sample calendar of how some of the best producers set this up. This is what it means. Can you see that? Let me see. Yeah. So you can see this on this calendar every day, 8:30 to 11:30 lead generation, 8:30 to 11:30 lead generation, 8:30 to 11:30 lead generation. It isn't complicated, guys. It's just deciding that lead generation is the lifeblood of your business and that you're going to spend time every day in this activity and schedule everything else around that. Because if that becomes negotiable, because that happens. So Ryan and I were having a great conversation about, because I think one of the prospecting activities that as we're reading the book, we're going to be able to, I've been just making a list of what constitutes prospecting. And as Ryan and I were having a discussion about the loan officers making the calls themselves on the 3-week post-closing call, not sending an email, but actually getting on the phone with your customer, because this is a great opportunity to ask for a referral. Right. So, but having that communication with the customer, and so I told Ryan, I said, I think I'm going to try to talk all the loan officers into making that call themselves. And Ryan says, yeah, I could probably do it, but if I start to get busy, I'm not going to be able to. He's like, see, that's right there. You've made a prospecting activity negotiable. And I'm not picking on Ryan, and he agreed with me. Right? I just go, yeah, you're right. I got to because prospecting has to take precedent over everything. That's the difference between the top producers and everybody else. I got another thing to show you. This is everybody, not everybody, but most of you are familiar with a coaching group program called the Core. Make this a little bigger. I don't want to make it that big. Sorry, bear with me. The Core has something that they use. The Core is this really intense training program. I don't know if it's intense. That's not fair. It's a very weird. It's a weird little. I know enough.
It's
I know
a cult.
That, yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, I've heard that it's a cult, but the people that are in the cult are pretty successful people, and not all of them. Everybody, we still have that thing. So can everybody see? Okay, here. This is something they call the greatness tracker, and this is their weekly accountability, right? So on here you can see that they're supposed to have 15 face-to-face meetings every week, 5 break breads every week, which is breakfast, lunch, a meal. I think Dennis, you're pretty familiar with this, aren't you? Yeah, 60 great phone calls with leads, referral partners, past clients or current clients, 1 or 2 seminars attended, 21 hours of prospecting, 10 thank you cards, 10 leads, and 3 deals. And this is what they do. And so what the Core is the Core just like you pay them $2,500 a month and they scream at you for not doing it. They scream at you for not filling it out. They scream at you for not making the calls. I'm not wired for this. I'm not going to ever do that. And I don't think that's, but you can't what I've heard is the most successful people in there, the guys, they all have really bad dad issues. And then this coach, the guy who leads the whole thing, is like, becomes their father figure, and they have this love-hate relationship with the guy. I guess it's really weird, but you can't dispute the fact that the disciplined approach to prospecting is the difference. And the fact that they look at this and they say, it's one sheet of paper, they have to turn it in every week, and they have to fill out their greatness tracker, and they have to do the work. And the ones that are doing it are getting the best results. And the ones that aren't. It's that simple. If anybody would like, I'll share that with you. You can do it yourself. And it's just deciding that you're going to make prospecting a non-negotiable activity in your business. Everything else would get better after that. And I'm not saying 3 hours a day. I couldn't cold call for 3 hours a day, guys. I couldn't do it. I could cold call for an hour, right? But there's also a lot of research that would go into the calls if I was calling realtors for the first time, that they would know my name before I ever picked up the phone and called them. So that's the research, the preparation, the activities that lead to that kind of activity. We got a lot of talent in this group, people with a lot of experience. So the sharing that we can do every week going forward in 2023 could be really fun. We can all learn from each other. We can all get better. We can all support each other. And then let's just kick ass in 2023. Let's outperform what everybody else is going to do, because it's going to be a great year for purchase business. That's the projection. It's going to be one of the best purchase business years that we've had in a while. And so we need to be ones capturing that market share, and we can do it with the right prospecting activity and the right discipline. So there you go. The last thing, if you didn't look at Jacqueline's newsletter, I think it's phenomenal. That would be that's not going to ever be a prospecting activity, but it is certainly something that you can do. And it's the kind of thing I think she nailed, the approach where she got the little doodles on it and everything else. So it'll be really interesting to see if Jay Dacey's numbers that I shared with everybody, if you didn't watch that video, make sure you do. A 1% return on the mailings that he does every month. So that means 4 deals for Jacqueline sending out 475 letters, you said. So let's see if she gets 4.4 to 5 deals out of it. And I don't know if you do the very first time, but we'll see, and we'll just track and measure it. But I think it's a great activity that you can do for prospecting. It's not really prospecting, but it is definitely relationship building. Does anybody else have any questions for what we're doing and how we're going to do it? And anybody want to add anything to this approach?
I was just going to say,
yeah.
Tracking. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just going to, sorry, G. I was just going to say to the newer people, like, don't discount the power of goal setting. I remember a long time ago that Dave shared G's little goals that he had written down. Remember that? It was like buy a car. I don't remember what it was, but it was, I was like, man, and G had got all of them. So I'm just going to share my screen really quick. Just, I'm not like tooting my own horn, but like the power of goals. This is 2014. So I saved all of them from like 2012, but it's cool to look back and be like, oh shit, I did that. I mean, that was now looking back, I'm like, that was a low goal. I could have gone higher, but did that. And then when I set this goal, that's like, that seems ridiculous. Like, I don't know how the fuck I'm going to get there. And then COVID hit and I get it 2 years in a row. So I just think, like, started a family, did 2 major vacations. So you have to set goals. Like, Dave's not saying it just to, like, because he's your boss or whatever, but like the power of setting goals is awesome. So don't discount it. Take 3-4 hours, sit down, turn off your phone, turn off everything. Just do your goals and look at them every day and just like get it in your brain. And then the subconscious will just start working towards those goals. So
that life plan, don't do it like in an hour. Like, that's go away and work on your life plan. Go away, go somewhere, be alone for a few hours, go up in the mountains, go someplace that's inspiring so that you can just think. I mean, that's really what it is. Giuseppe, what were you going to add?
I was just going to, well, I'll touch on the goals part too. So, if you have kids, do it with your kids too. That we've been doing that for about 4 or 5 years. I take them out to breakfast, just me, and we do that, and they set goals, and then I just frame them and put them up on their wall. I have a lamination machine in my office, so if you want to laminate them and throw them in your backpack like I do, or whatever on your bathroom counter, feel free to use that machine. I can show you how. But yeah, super powerful. I forgot what I was going to say before. Oh yeah, the tracking sheet that you showed. I think at some point in the past, you may have it saved, so no one has to recreate it, but there was like an Excel version that they had to email you like every Friday. You remember?
I have that one too, Giuseppe. I still do that.
Yeah, you can just save it on your desktop, enter the numbers as they change, and then you can email them to Dean or Dave or whoever you want to email it to.
Yeah, we're going to track them. We're going to track them. I want to put it on. I'll put it on a Google sheet so that everybody can see what they are. So we'll track it like that, because I'm not going to just. I want to like measure this and see how it moves going forward, how we're doing, and how you grow during the year, right? Because I promise you, the fact that you're tracking and measuring it, you will improve it because you're tracking and measuring it. And shame on me for not having you do this before now. I mean, we do so many different things here, but this is the cornerstone of what will make you successful in this business is your disciplined approach and your focus on prospecting. It's going to be fun because just know your lead count every week. If you know your lead count, your credit pulls, and your applications, and you have to say it like, okay, here's how many I got. It's like, okay, great. As long as you know. I don't have to do anything. You'll influence your own behavior. I won't have to do it because you're going to know what your number is, and and if it's great, you'll be happy, and if it's not, you'll be pissed, and you'll go like, I gotta make some more calls. So that's all it is. It's staying focused. So right on.
Hey, Dave, one more thing I'll say about the prospecting and tracking your activity. You're gonna get ratios from this as you track. You're gonna know how many calls it takes to get a lead and stuff like that. And just like baseball players know their batting average and they know how they bat against left-handed pitchers and stuff like that, you're gonna be able to do the same thing. If you track it and you measure that, you can plan better. So as you go into your week, you know, how long does it take me to make 20 calls? What does it look like? How many calls should I make to get the right number of leads? But if you don't track any of that, you have no idea. And every week you're just throwing something out and hoping it sticks.
Exactly. Right. And Chris and Giuseppe and Jacqueline have been, and I know Christine does this. When you measure how you're doing, then you get better because like going, okay, I need to do a better job of converting my leads. And so you can identify areas and then you can bring it to us. Like we've got so much talent here. Everybody knows how to make it better. I can help. There's tons of ways that you can improve your conversion ratio. There's tons of ways that you can do it. So it's just, but if you don't have a ratio, I can't help you. And if you're not, that's the other thing. I kind of gave a couple of people a hard time about this week. If you're not, as much as you can, make your calls out of Zoom so that we can listen to calls together and we can watch the game film and we can help you. Like I can help almost everybody convert leads at a higher rate when you first get started. Just let me listen to the call. And it's not even letting me listen to it. If you listen to it, you'll be like, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I sound like that. I can't believe I sound so depressing. I can't believe so just hearing yourself talk to somebody will change everything. You'll get better as soon as you hear the first call. So take advantage of the tools that we do have and I promise you'll improve it. Because I know that that's an area that both Chris and Giuseppe had spent a lot of time on in the past. Where like, I want to just improve my conversion ratio, work smarter, not harder, right? If I can convert 4 out of 10 leads instead of 3 out of 10 leads, that's a 25% increase in business. And like, that's a phenomenal thing that you can do. So, anyway, it's going to be fun. I'm really excited about 2023. This is going to be the last Friday Focus. I didn't say, I'm also grateful. I'm going to be, going to Newport Beach. We rented a house in California for the week for Christmas. So, and then I'm not buying Christmas presents for my kids anymore. I guess I kind of did, but we're just going to like come to California and that's your Christmas present to me. So I'm looking forward to, I'll be gone from the 22nd to the 1st. So everybody, thank you for your year. I'm glad that you're here. I'm really excited for 2023. Thanks everybody. Have an awesome day.
Hey, Dave, I was going to say real quick on the navigator tool, that like Building Champions had, and you've probably shared it, but that's something that, you can only fit like 10 realtors on there or 10 referral sources. So I just built mine in Google Sheets, and I know some people have seen it on this call, but if you're interested in seeing something like that, it goes back to like probably 2016 or something like that. And it's really cool to see through the years how, is that mine?
Ryan, is that his?
Sorry, I was going to say, no, it's mine, but same exact one. I just put my own realtors on there.
Yeah, so you can track everything. Then you build a couple formulas at the bottom. And so I can see, maybe like my conversion leads to close loans in 2017 was like 37%, and then it went to like 43 and then 50. And then we had 2020 and 2021 high refinance years. Those numbers were like 70, of course, because there are a lot of repeat clients. But then this year, I've done like 15 refinances, so about 350 less than last year. And that number is about, I think yesterday I was plugging the numbers in, it's like 57 or 58%. So it'll give you a sense of pride as you look back through the years to see that number increasing too. So it did.
You know what? I'm going to have you share it. And probably what we'll do is have you do one of these calls. We'll have you do like, how do you use it? How do you guys use that? And it gives something to somebody and just and he knows his numbers. That's the like everything else, blah 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 blah. He knows his numbers, and you can't. And the fact that he knows his numbers is one of the reasons that he produces at the level that he produces and converts at the level he converts. And
now it's pretty easy because everything comes out of Salesforce. Like we actually have a database that you can get real numbers out of. So I can show you how I pull those reports at the end of the month and plug in the numbers. It takes 10 minutes, and that's it.
Right on. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to enlist your help. So thanks, everybody.